All right, everyone. How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to the Snowstorm Podcast. We are actually, guys, this is our 10th podcast ever. That's pretty crazy. We've been doing this for 10 weeks now. And our guest tonight, guys, is none other than the man himself, the bearded legend, Orkide. Orkide, how you doing? Thanks for being on tonight.
Oh, I'm doing great, buddy. How are you doing tonight?
Good. The tables have turned, my friend. Now I get to ask you all the questions. So you're now on the hot seat.
This is a weird transition. I'm not sure what to do with this.
It's so funny. I wanted actually to even explore that idea because I did it with you, and then last night I actually was on the other side again with Eklevev. And I was on her sort of interview show, and I got to experience it again. And it's funny, you don't really get used to it. No matter how many times you go on the other side, you're like, I felt like I was still more used to being, I don't know, on the lead role, I guess. So.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, I caught that show last night. She asked some pretty hard questions too. Like I was sitting there, I'm like, I'd never be able to answer some of them.
And the thing was, I watched some of those before and was kind of thinking about what I was gonna say for answers. But then it just kind of all left me in that moment when she was actually asking everything. But guys, for anyone who doesn't know, Orkide is a Twitch streamer himself. He's actually decently new to streaming. He started streaming this year, if I'm correct, and he also has a podcast interview show where he has streamers on as well. And I have to admit something to you guys. I think I stole his idea. And I didn't even know he was doing it, but he started earlier than me. When we first talked to each other, I was like, all right, who did this first? And he goes, oh, I started a couple months ago, and I only started about a month and a half ago. So if Orkide, we might be in court. There might be a huge litigation battle. But
not at all.
But he does a really good podcast interview show as well, guys. He's had some great streamers on there. Orkide, what time do you do those interview shows at? I think were they Mondays or Tuesdays?
Monday at 5 p.m. And I'll be doing that through the end of October, and then November may have some changes to it. I haven't ironed everything out yet, so we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, no, that's what's tough about these sort of things is getting people on, having a consistent schedule, and having your life be consistent enough to be able to do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is my camera acting up? I don't know. It looks okay. I thought it was acting up there. But yeah, so the way we do our podcast is anyone who's back here again knows how we do it. We do talk about streaming a little bit, then we talk about video games, which kind of lead up to ESO and sort of where Orkide is in his video game experience right now. But first of all, Orkide, so you started streaming this year. How have you liked it so far? How's the experience been?
The community is the biggest part. I stayed streaming this game I've done streaming in the past, and I've done it for Minecraft and tried for Ark for a little while, and it was really hard to get into streaming those because number one, they were so flooded and saturated with so many different streamers, whereas ESO, it seems like there's still a lot of streamers, but there's a huge community within the streaming community for ESO. So that's really what kept me going at it, and the thing that's made me just enjoy every minute of streaming on this. It's so much fun hanging out with other streamers, either in my stream, their stream, doing multi-streams, all sorts of stuff. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, and the thing we talked about the last time I was on your show was, even though there are a lot of streamers, it doesn't seem like it's much of a competition as much as hey, let's all support each other and help each other out and do certain things to help each other grow, because I think all of our communities kind of converge into the ESO community. So, even if we have different viewers, I'm always more than excited to send people that maybe haven't checked you out or haven't checked out Ekleveth or Kyle Dempster or Ninja Monkey or someone else, and show them those streamers because they add something new, and I think that's what's cool about the ESO community.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, everyone's got their own niche. They got their own little way of running their channel and everything. Even you joking about us doing a similar podcast, even though it's a similar podcast, and even Ekleveth has one too, they're tailored differently about how we like to run the podcast, what kind of questions we'll be asking, stuff like that. So, I love it because it even gives, like you said, me and you a chance to be on each other's podcast and see how we do it, and then how it is to be on the other side of it. So it's very interesting to be on this side of the questions.
No, it definitely is. And I always find myself excited to be on the other side and excited to have other people creating content like that as well, because not that I copy things from you guys, but you guys give me a lot of inspiration, show me different things. Like Ekleveth does this thing where you get on ESO and you sit in her house and she brings wine in game, she brings cheese, crackers, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so different than like what me and Orkide do, where it's a very personal camera thing. This isn't in game; it's more like a role play interview than it is a real life interview, and I'm like, that's genius.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I need to check that out more.
Yeah,
I did see the one that you were on, but it didn't even dawn on me that you guys were in game doing the questions and stuff. It just kind of sucked me into it.
and I was sitting across from her, and our characters were making eye contact. It was such a different experience, and I sent her a message after. I'm like, you got to keep doing that. That is just something that, you know, I feel like the role-playing community can really get involved with that sort of content. And then also, I think role-playing in general is just not something that's seen a lot with ESO streamers, so I like when people are kind of implementing it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've run across it, and I've run across it too, that some streamers don't like to show themselves on the camera. So, you know, that's a really good approach to it, because then you don't even have to worry about that. You just go with your character, and that's what people know you by in-game character. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it is funny how some people don't like to show their face, and I completely understand. I didn't even think about the severity of it until I was too far gone. Until the point where people already knew what I looked like. I had been streaming for a year, and I saw people not streaming or not using a camera, and like for some reason I thought to myself, or more people will watch if I show my face, but it just matters on the content. Yeah. But I was like, crap, I could have made that decision, but I didn't. I don't mind it now. I honestly don't care. But I mean, everyone makes fun of my really nice old person bed sheets. That's like the one thing I get. They're hidden now, actually. I draped over a navy like looking blanket over it too. The criticisms needed to stop, but it is an interesting thing. So you started streaming not ESO, you said Minecraft, and what other games?
And Ark for a little while. Not very long though, because I mean, I was playing that with my friends. I was having fun playing the game, but just streaming, it was like I'd get 1, maybe 2 viewers, and I couldn't even stream that long. Like I would start playing, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, I gotta go take care of something at the house. So I just didn't think there was any point, so I'd just play Ark for playing Ark's sake. But yeah, this one, it's really fun, because even if I'm just running around, and like today, all I was doing was my my writs, in case Inklings is watching. I did my writs.
Yep, good.
And then I went out, did all my crafting surveys. I tried to finish off, I did finish off my jewelry crafting, stuff like that. And it's just fun, because even when I'm playing, just to do little things like that, at least I can have the stream going and talk with other people, and you know, they can, you know, kill the work day, because that's most of the people that's watching my stream is people lurking while they're working. So
no, and a lot of people do that now, actually. I mean, it's good not everyone streams at the same time. It's good. I love seeing people that stream at different times as me, because I can watch them. Like I can always pop into your stream and lurk and say hi. And stuff like that. And it stinks for streamers that stream at my time that I really enjoy watching that I don't get to watch as much. But what is it, just like your time schedule that made you pick that time to stream? Is that sort of like you know, it works well right here? Is that sort of the mindset?
Yeah, mostly it's tailored around, so Tuesday evenings, my son and my older daughter, they have church activity. So I can't do anything on Tuesday evenings. My wife also works, so I take care of the kids Tuesday. So if I stream, it's usually during the day, and it's only if work is really slow. I also didn't go with Friday or Saturday, because those are the 2 other days my wife works. Sunday is kind of a family time, so we don't really do too much gaming, or we tried not to, but
sometimes it has to be done.
If it's one of those days where, like, you know what, everyone just needs their own space, go do your own thing, that's what we do. That, or we're running around errands. So Monday was kind of like that in between everything going on. I was like, I can try and, but I think that's the thing that's hard right now. Sundays and Mondays are my days off for work. My wife also has the same 2 days off. So Mondays, we usually try to go out, run errands. I mean, we got to drop off the kids at school, pick them up, stuff like that. So there's a lot of Mondays where I have to tell people, I'm like, I may be running like 5, 10, 15 minutes late, and we may have to cancel it. It's just kind of a crapshoot. So that's one of the changes I might make in November, is maybe switch it to either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure yet. Well, yours is on Wednesday, so maybe Thursday.
Oh, so I actually do Thursday, but you do whatever
do
day
you?
you
Okay.
do whatever day you want, man.
Oh wait, today's Thursday, isn't it?
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I'm a day off. Okay, so I'll go for Wednesday then.
But that brings up a really interesting conversation that like some streamers really deal with and some streamers really don't, because I had Ninja614 on and we really talked about this a lot, was sort of that juggling of real job, family, and then if you want to stream, where does that fit and what do you give up, and then is it worth giving it up? And sometimes I think that's what's tough, and I don't think you'll take this the wrong way, but like smaller streamers, sometimes it's even harder to give that up because it's like, is it worth it? You know, and I don't have I mean, I live with my family, but I don't have a spouse, I don't have kids, but I still like to spend time with my family, and sometimes I'll sacrifice that time for streaming, and then if back in certain times if the stream wasn't good and I noticed that, I'd feel like, did I just waste time? And then you sort of second guess yourself and you get in like this weird pit, but like, how do you juggle that, and where do you make those decisions, like on when it's okay to stream and when, you know, you gotta cut it, you gotta do these certain things?
Yeah, that was the hardest thing, and that's really what I went through just recently within the last couple weeks, is trying to reevaluate how much time and effort I'm putting into the streams. I gotta really balance that out because I get to work from home. So it's very easy for me to just say, oh, well, I'll hop on, I'll stream for a little bit, and only if, you know, work is slow, stuff like that. But a lot of the times, like, it'll get frustrating if I'm streaming and I'm having a good stream, and then all of a sudden, like, something comes up for work. I'm like, God dang it, I gotta end my stream and I gotta go do work. And it's like, I gotta check myself once in a while when I do that, because I know work is more of a priority than streaming, because that's what keeps my family going. So that's always a priority over streaming. So that's a lot of the times people will see that in my normal day-to-day stream is I could be streaming for like an hour, 4 hours. I could be streaming for the entire day. But at some point, there are times where I'll just cut it off and I'll say, I gotta go. I got something to work on. So here's another streamer, and I'll just raid or, you know, host over to them. And then as far as balancing it out with family, that's the even tougher subject, is how much time do I take away? Because I'm married, I got 3 kids, and it's very hard to balance that out. You know, I do want my personal time to be able to play my game and have fun, but I'm also getting into a bad habit of making that more of a priority of family. So I'm trying to check that a little bit and, you know, find that good balance where I'm not just sitting on the computer all day long from like 7 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to balance that out the right way.
It really is, and it's something that I don't think any streamer has down pat, and I love having older people on the stream who kind of deal with this, because I got my first full-time job a couple weeks ago, and now I'm thinking to myself, all right, how am I gonna work a 9 to 5, then come home, eat dinner, and then stream for 3 hours, and how am I going to keep my charisma up? How am I going to keep my energy? How am I going to stay healthy? Because the amount of time I stream and the amount of sleep I get is directly correlated to my health. And so, I mean, I talked, when I had Ninja614, and this is no secret, he made it very apparent, he said, I've given up my health for streaming and for my family. He streams, and then he starts when his kids go to bed, and he starts, and he goes late because he wants to push it, because he's, you know, he loves streaming, and his stream's doing well, and it's something that I think, you know, you just kind of have to find that balance, and I don't know, I wish there was an answer. That's why I ask people, because I'm like, what's the answer? I need it.
Yeah, and that's always why I've always told people I'm a super casual streamer. I am a small-time streamer, so I don't take any offense to that, because I've always had the mentality that my stream is third in line for what I do. I'm doing streaming just to have fun. It's a hobby. You know, I'm not trying to make a career out of it. I'm not doing any kind of push for partner. If that happens, it happens naturally, because there's no way I'm gonna get 75 average viewers in a month, because I don't stream enough and I don't stream long enough to do that. So, but yeah, that's my thing, is like, it is really hard, because I know that evening times are a better time to stream, But I don't like to do that because when it's like in about 45 minutes, it's going to start being dinner time at my house. So that's about the time where I try to wind down and we watch Netflix, or I might go, check emails and social media and stuff like that. But I've been trying not to game too much in the evenings, which I realized last night that I'm getting into that bad habit with Dead by Daylight with some of the other streamers. So I got to reel that back in and get back into my old ways of, evening time has to be spent with family and keep that relationship healthy with all of them.
Yeah, it's important, and for any streamers who are watching, I mean, we know your pain. It's not easy. But hey, man, here's the thing, and this is just from one streamer to another. You have a really good attitude. You have really good equipment. You're really fun to watch, and your community when you come in is just so friendly. So, like, honestly, I always tell everyone, like, just keep working, dude. If you're having fun, then it'll happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I've talked to people who have gotten partnered, and they always say to me, I pushed for it, but I was just having fun. And then it just, like, kind of, it happens. And so one of the things I've started doing is I turn off viewer count completely, or at least I try to, because I feel like that sometimes I get in my own head, and then I start to, like, oh, no one's watching, I need to do something different. Instead, I should just be having fun. So,
Yeah, that's a couple of things I've done, too, is I turn the viewer count off my stream, so that way I don't know, and the people watching don't know how many people are actually watching the stream unless they, look at the other counters and stuff like that. But I mean, my funnest time streaming is always when I start a stream and I get the usual people that are in my stream talking with me, because I've done the most boring things like fishing and had the best times doing it, because it's all about having those people in the stream and being able to talk to them and have a good time, have a good conversation, stuff like that. And it just helps, burn that day away. That, Fridays are always a hard day to get through because it's the end of the week and you want to just get to the weekend. I like doing that fishing Friday because it gives a chance to just sit there and talk instead of just watching someone play the game the whole time. So.
And I know viewers, I've talked to them, and they say, I like smaller streamers because that interaction is sometimes, and it's no knock against big streamers, but it's just so many people typing in chat, sometimes it's hard for the streamer to, interact with everyone. But a smaller streamer who, has 20 to 30 people, it's much easier to pick up on those comments and have a real discussion with everyone, and a lot of streamers like that. And then the oxymoron is, well, okay, they like that, more people come, now you're big, and then people don't like that. It's funny how it's like that kind of circle. But yeah, doing things, streaming, I like the way you say you can do the most boring, mundane thing, but the stream makes it so fun because the viewers are going to be hanging out. And I feel you, man. When the regulars come in, it's like your friends are coming to hang out. You're like, oh, what's up, dude? How was your night yesterday? Or how was, like, I'll have people and be like, I have my driving test tomorrow, and I can ask them, how was your driving test? Like, that connection is something that I think is one of the reasons streaming is just a special thing. And I think that's why we talked about it, how it's beating out TV, how I think it's going to beat out YouTube eventually, just with how the way the algorithm works. Like, we were kind of touching on that on the podcast with you, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I really like this this outlet of content more than YouTube, especially because you do get that personal touch to it. You're not watching a video that someone made and leave a comment below kind of thing that happens.
Like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, hey, thanks for the follow, how you doing, man, thanks for hanging out, so it's that live interaction with the, not just oh, I hit subscribe and it's a number to them. They don't even know what was this.
Now here's the crazy thing, and this is really the debate some people have, is what's easier, YouTube or Twitch? And I've really dived deep into both. I dived deep into YouTube at the beginning, and now I've dived head deep into Twitch. And with Twitch, it might be like a little more tiring because, I usually stream for about an hour, 2 hours. I go for about 2 to 3, and I don't know how you feel after, but sometimes I'm very tired, just talking a lot, being energetic, trying to make sure you have everyone involved. But with YouTube, it's all this editing on the back end, and it might actually take more than 3 hours, but, you just kind of sit there like this.
Yep.
And, like, you're really not brain power, but it takes more time. So it's really an interesting kind of debate on what's harder.
Yeah, and I honestly think that I like Twitch format more just because it's stream, you're done, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, there is other stuff that we're always doing. We're constantly working on our stream, trying to improve it, add new things here and there, make new panels, send out the social media tweets and stuff like that, just to kind of like say how the stream went and everything. But I feel like with YouTube, creating content on there, I mean, you take so much time doing editing and doing the content creation and all that stuff, but at least you get those pauses where, like, if you're gonna record a game or something like that, it doesn't have to be from this time to this time and then that's it. It's you can record a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then edit it all together and make it really good. That's the thing with live streaming, man. Sometimes it'll look like crap or it won't be as interesting, but I mean, that's the thing with the streamers. If you're keeping it interesting, you're keeping them active, they'll stick around and they'll come back for more. So
yeah, one of my favorite stories, and I have like a policy, I never try to talk about these two individuals, well, a couple of them, just a couple big YouTubers. I guess I won't say the name, I don't really want to, but I love when big YouTubers see that streaming's getting bigger and they try to stream and then they fail completely at it. And it's not that I'm rooting against them, but it's not that easy. They think, oh, I have 150,000 subs on YouTube, I'll be able to get partner on Twitch, and then they're just sitting there boring, they're not talking, they're just playing the game, and no one watches. And like, I'll see that because I follow a lot of smaller YouTubers, and I'll send them a letter or an email or something, not a letter, but like an email or message, and just say, hey, you gotta talk, man. Like, you can't just like... And I find that really, really amusing. But
what's that? Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I find that it's amusing to see sometimes, because I feel like sometimes streaming people think it's easier, but it's actually just as hard in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I'm sure you've had it before, and I've had it a few times where someone comes in and like they're like, well, how do I get my numbers up? How do I get more viewers? It's
you
like,
and me have had it together.
There's no magic crystal ball. There's no secret formula that we're using, and it's not like we're pulling in huge numbers like some of the other streamers. It's just you got to keep working at it, and as long as as long as the streamer is entertaining to you, that's what's going to keep people coming back. And if you're not not interacting, if you're not, I don't know how to say it. I mean, basically you got to be a people person. You got to be able to socialize with people.
I think either that, or you have to be so good at the game that watching you be the best is entertaining. And sometimes some streamers really have that going for them, and I completely respect that, because that's a whole different craft. And if they're really mastering it like a sport, completely understandable. And I don't judge, but for ESO and for MMO games, where sometimes there really is no the best player. Like, if someone asked me who's the best PvPer, I'd like Fang Rush and Dots would like come to mind as people I like to watch who I think are really good. But obviously there's other people out there streaming it. So and then for new streamers, and we said this, it was so funny, you were on my stream, you, me, and Modified Wolf, and we were all streamers, smaller streamers, and we just said, have fun, stream as consistently as possible. Whoever's watching you, they're your best friend. And then my fourth one is appreciate lurkers. I've had a lot of people the past couple of weeks who come, but they don't really say anything. I see their names in chat, but they're just lurking, and I know what they're doing. They're pulling up their game, and they're just playing. I love that. That's awesome. If they just want to listen to me talk like a fool for 3 hours while they play ESO, I can do that. That's why I'm streaming. So, I always tell people that, because I see small streamers, they'll go and look in chat and then call out the one person watching them, and I'm like, they're gonna leave. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. Just like let them lurk. They're just hanging out. That's what you want. Like, so.
And that's the thing, is like, that's a lot of the viewership too, is people, most of the viewers that are on here right now are probably just have it up in the background, either on another tab, or they're playing the game right now and they just want to kind of hear what's going on. They don't necessarily are going to like focus just on that. So, but yeah, I asked who's it, Mikey Shoot, to make a new emote for me, the Orkide.
Yeah, it's a good looking emote.
Yeah, he's still working on it, because there's a couple things we noticed after it got published and it doesn't look quite right.
Dude, so. Twitch will do that. I put emotes in. This one right here, this middle one, it's a tier 2 with my face. It looks blurry to me. It looks blurry, and I wish it didn't. And I always am like, all right, I need to figure out how to fix that. But, dude, you and me, we should seriously do like a 3-hour podcast if we had the time, because I'm like, geez, we're already a half hour in. Is there anything I want to talk about streaming? So with this, so you're going to be making changes in November. Is this going to be a transition to more streaming, or is it going to be a transition to more or less streaming, or more organized streaming, or sort of what is this change you're planning on?
A little more organized, yeah. So right now, I tried to make it to where like Friday fishing was going to be a thing. I was going to start doing. I'm actually getting more into this where Saturdays are variety streaming. So Saturdays I've been doing a lot of streaming with Chegg,
Sea of Thieves,
Saracen. Yeah, and
that's cool.
That's a lot of fun. That's the other thing too, is ESO, as great as it is, I don't want to just focus on one game, because I guess I don't see myself playing ESO for
the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how much longer I'm going to play the game, and it's not like I'm leaving soon, but it's that thing where like I get a lot of gaming ADD, so I see something shiny and I'm like, I like it. And then, I mean, I've played the same games for 4 to 5 years at a time, but it's only if it can keep me engaged. And that's what I love about ESO right now is, number one, I haven't even scratched the surface on any of the quest games, so I need to go back and start getting into that more. I haven't really been focusing on the different characters and building kind of a backstory to him and stuff like that. So I kind of want to get into that content a little bit. Not so much RP game, but definitely try to see like the different content. There's even some maps where I've only gone to like the main cities, and I really want to get out there and explore more. So that's some of the stuff that I'm gonna start doing in November, is instead of focusing on trials and dungeons and stuff like that, I'm going to be trying to focus more on actually doing more content of the game, and listening to the storylines, trying to get more immersed into it, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think, you don't always have to roleplay. Sometimes you can just, like, talk about, like, what's going on and, like, discuss, like, sometimes, like, what I would do is I'd say, hey, I don't think this quest was written quite the way I would have liked it, and then I'll even, like, suggest things. I'll say, oh, man, if it ended this way, or if it did this, and, like, that's fun to start the community too, because you can come up with some, like, really good ideas. Like, I'm not trying to, like, just change the subject completely, but, like, one of the ideas we came up with, me, Milk Viper, and Sound Illustration, we talked about what if there were leveled treasure maps. Like, how every map you get, it just leads you to the basic treasure chest. You get, like, a blue or green ring and, like, some gold. What if you got, like, a gold treasure chest, or a gold map, and that would lead you to a gold treasure chest, where then you would get really good gold materials. And then streamers and players would want to go treasure hunting. That could be a whole gameplay. And it's something that we feel like the game's missing out on, but it's, like, those constructive conversations about very mundane, boring things, or something that's not as exciting as, we need to beat this dungeon and get the no-death speed mode, or speed run-like stuff. So I think that's a good idea, and honestly, do what you have fun doing. I saw Inklings, he decided, hey, I'm gonna go and do more story and writ stuff and then dungeons, because he thinks the game is more fun that way, and I'm like, do you, dude? That's what I like to see. Like, have fun. If you're having fun, the community will like to watch you also have fun.
Yep.
So
yeah, and I really thought about it too, because so the biggest streamer known by everyone is Ninja, like actual Ninja.
Yep, big, the one Ninja.
And when I think about what that guy does, it's great that he makes a lot of money, he's really famous on streaming and stuff like that, but you got to think about what kind of toll is that playing on him mentally and physically, that he spends his entire day playing the same game all day long. And it's not like that game has a lot of content to it. It's run around, shoot people, try to win. That's it. So I'm like, how can you play that one game all day long, so many days out of the week, and not just get completely burnt out? Like, some of the streams I've gone in and just kind of looked and seen, what's going on in his stream. He looks exhausted every time I've watched him. But he always has that, energy, that he looks like he's energetic and he looks like everything's fine, but there's times where you see him streaming and it's like,
he also gets very he gets very angry sometimes too, and I mean, streaming can take out a lot, and do what you do for fun. I think streaming this is just such a weird thing too, and we talk about it is it for fun or is it a business, and does either way you do that have a negative or positive effect? I talked to Kyle Dempster, and because me and him were right around the same size when we started talking to each other, and we were like, do we treat it like a business, and do we push for these things, or do we have fun and then let it happen naturally? And does one way work out better than the other? And if you have too much fun, are you not actually focused on what's going on? And if you're focused too much, are you not having fun? And it's this perfect balance game where I feel like Ninja has just completely left over, and he said, no, I'm going to make as much money and do as much advertising as I can. And by the way, this is not Ninja 614. For everyone who's just joining, this is Ninja, the Fortnite streamer. I just want to make that clear. Yeah.
Just Ninja.
But yeah, it's an interesting thought process. So.
Yeah. No, and that's the other thing too, is like we've been saying, you got to be able to have fun with it. And like I've said before, I'm not making a career out of streaming. It'll never happen. I'll tell you right now. I know Ninja 614 has actually hinted at that on a couple streams.
Yep,
where
he let me know. Yep, he wants to do that.
Yeah, he wants to stream full time, which that's awesome if he can pull that off. I'm in a point in my life where I don't think I could take that risk. Like, I don't think we would be able to support our family. It wouldn't be healthy for me. I mean, that's the thing that really is hard to do, is try and figure out, is that really something that's sustainable long term? And if not, have a backup plan. I'm sure he has a backup plan in place in case it doesn't, but I really hope if he does it, it does work out, because that I've always told everyone I've met in my stream and other streams, Ninja 614 to me is the streamer for streamers. Like, you see so many streamers and ESO community in his channel hanging out, just having a good time. And it's not, it's hard to describe what he has that maybe other streamers don't, or what they're doing versus what he's doing. But it feels like he just has, a certain
he definitely does
animal. Yeah, he's got something to him that just draws you in, wants you to hang out with it.
Yep, and I think for a lot of streamers, and myself, what drew me there is I wanted to learn. I have a huge passion for streaming. I'm like, how do I get better? How do I do a better job for the people who watch me? And Ninja 614 is someone I always host when I can, and I always watch, and I just, even if I'm lurking and giving up social media tweets or saying something in my Discord, I'm just listening to how he's interacting, and he does a great job. So yeah, it's really good. So the last thing I really want to talk about Twitch, and so I usually do 30 minutes, We're already at 35, but I don't care, because you know what? Here's the thing, dude. I can have you back on again when we have more free time. It's not like this is the last time I'll ever talk to you, but
right.
This is it, guys. After this, me and Orkide, excommunication.
Nope.
Done.
We go our separate ways.
We block each other on everything. But how does your family understand the streaming? Do they like that you stream? Have you ever thought about streaming with your son, or does your son want to want you to stream certain games? Is your family understanding about it, or are they like, oh, here goes dad or the husband streaming? Because my family does that sometimes. They'll be like, oh, Billy's got to go stream. My parents wanted to watch a movie, and I'm like, no, I got a podcast tonight that I'm streaming till midnight. I can't. And they're like, oh, there goes Billy streaming again. Just sort of, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, my daughters don't really care. They're independent. They do their own thing. If I'm streaming, they just think it's oh, daddy's doing whatever he's doing,
Yep.
My son is a big time Fortnite streamer, or not streamer, but Fortnite player. And now that he's seen me stream ESO and get into that, now he's like, oh, I want to stream Fortnite. I'm like, not that easy, son. And he's tried it out a few times. He knows he's only getting one or two people in there, so he got frustrated with it pretty quick. And I mean, he still tries it once in a while, but yeah, he's asked me several times, can I stream Fortnite and play with him and stuff like that. So
do you?
No, I did it once, and that was for his birthday, and that was it. So
really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Are you just not a Fortnite fan? You're just nah, too toxic, not a fan?
I can't play that game because I feel like too many players are too good at that game for entry-level people to come in and just start playing.
Yeah, casual.
So I die in the first 3 minutes of the game every time anyways, so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And my son's sitting here like, Dad, you got to build up. You got to build up. I'm like, I don't even know how to build. You haven't shown me anything.
Yeah, I don't know how to build either. I've played a couple times and I streamed it once, and like I had some really mean people come into my chat. Like they're like, wow, you might be one of the worst players I've ever seen. And I'm like, look at the panels down below, and they all had like ESO related things, and they're like, what's ESO? And I'm like, better.
Yeah.
But no, that's fair. That's fair. It's just so funny because like I stream with my brothers, but like I'd love to stream with my dad. My dad's such like an old timer. He's just like nah. He plays like his strategy games, and like he won't have anything to do with ESO. But he's also like a workaholic. But that's cool. I always like to hear that question because like I asked Ninja614 how his family was like. Did they understand what was going on? And Ninja looked at me and he goes, The joke is I'm kind of a big deal. Like, I started laughing. I was like, that's great. I'm like, but like. I don't mean to like it's nothing actually. I was gonna say, short thing, me and Ninja talked about, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm a big streamer when it comes to ESO, but like in the grand scheme of things, you know, he's not pulling like Fortnite streamer numbers, and you know, your son wanting to do those Fortnite streams, it's just so full of streamers. There's so many people. It's like you could have 10,000 and not be in the top 20 streamers.
That's the other thing I love about ESO versus all the other games is even though there are quite a few streamers, it doesn't feel as saturated as a lot of the other games, because if you go to League of Legends, you go to Minecraft, you go to, I mean, you look at that page, ESO is probably like on the 5th row of games to, you know, look at. Yep. I kind of like that because then it's not as, I mean, it's a pretty well-known game and it has a following to it, but it's not the other type of games and stuff like that.
Everyone knows everyone here. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I was gonna say the one last person in the family, my wife.
Oh yeah.
So she accepts it. She deals with it. I'm sure if I stop streaming, she would be okay with that, but she knows I'm going to play the game anyways, so if I'm streaming while I'm playing the game, then that's one thing. But if that's the hard balance, is trying to still make sure that I'm helping her, that I'm there for her, and that, you know, I'm not just getting wrapped up in myself, you know, stuff like that. So I'm sure there are definitely some times where she feels like this gets in the way or it's too much, but she knows this is my thing now. This is what I'm doing, and you know, I'm having fun with it. She has her things that she does and she has fun with it. So we've had those talks before and know that, you know, we got to find our outlets to keep our sanity, because raising 3 kids is not easy. So
yeah, and sometimes being in a relationship, and I have no experience, I've been in a couple but nothing long term, but you know, having that separate time where you guys have your own personal things. I think the thing that I always like hope for when I meet someone is like, if I have an achievement when I'm streaming, that they understand like the significance. Like I can be excited with them. Like I remember I had a girlfriend and I had hit 10 viewers for the first time, and I was so excited. It was just like this like moment where I was like, people watch me. She goes, only 10? And I was like mind blown. I like, it was such like a separation of like understanding that sometimes like that's a little tough. But
yeah,
I mean, you know, as long as I think, you know, she's not like, oh, I want you to stop streaming, like, you know, then it's fine, you know, so it's all good.
Yeah. 16 years of marriage. She's come a long way with me through a lot of stuff. So
yeah, streaming can't be.
Yeah, that's not going to break the marriage right there.
Can't be that big of a hurdle.
There's something really wrong.
Yeah, for sure. So, talk a little bit about ESO. So, as you said, you're going to be making maybe some moves into different kinds of streaming content. I guess the first thing is, what's your favorite thing about ESO? And it can be the community. I've had people answer that. But what's like the one thing you really love about ESO that keeps you coming back like every time you stream? So,
you know what? I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna say the new content all the time, because for me, I only started the game in January, and it's now October, and I know I haven't even scratched the surface on the lore, the storylines, doing the quests, stuff like that. been playing it for 9 months, and I know there's so much more I can get into, and that's one of the reasons I'm pushing to make some changes on the streams, because I got so caught up in getting my CP points, getting my gear, running the dungeon dailies, trying to do all the new trials and stuff like that. So that's why I'm gonna reel it back a little bit and get back into the heart of the game, which is just going through and exploring and really taking in all the content of ESO, so I can get a better appreciation for it.
Yeah, I think this game makes a strong case of saying you don't need to be involved in the community to have fun. You are going to get content every 3 to 4 months. It's going to be good content. If you are a Plus member, you only have to pay once for the chapters, and that's so big that it's usually worth it. And I agree it's so nice because the devs and the people working at ZOS are so interactive with the streamers that it's this great back and forth of figuring out how things need to work, how things need to be fixed. They release patch notes, we criticize, they change patch notes, we criticize, and then it comes out. It's sort of, we've sort of shaped it. And I think that's something that a lot of other games don't have, and I think it might be that the size, we've been talking about the size of the ESO community and the streaming size, I think that's why the developers can interact with us so easily, and everyone can be sort of informed. Now, there's good parts of ESO, but there's also bad parts, and you gotta level with me. What's the worst part? If you could change one thing about ESO, what's one thing that really gets under your skin?
I'm gonna have to say the housing stuff, because I just tried to go in and do housing stuff, and I even have that add-on Ekloveth uses.
Yep.
And even that, I've never touched the tool before, but I know it can be really helpful. But I need a tutorial on how to use that thing. But just doing it without the add-on, it's so frustrating to try and mimic or do the same thing twice. I can't line up benches in a row to save my life, because I can't get the movement down to get it perfectly lined straight and everything. So
yeah, that's tough. It's not user friendly. It's definitely not. You have to have you have to turn your mouse settings down. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I go in and turn my mouse setting down. But yeah, the housing is always something interesting, because here's the thing about housing that's crazy, and you have to know this as a streamer. People love watching it. People love watching people work on houses. I see 3 streamers on right now who are all housing streamers, and they all have over 50 viewers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome, and I'm not against that, but it was such an interesting thing to me when I realized that was a thing. People love housing. And my problem with housing is just very endgame, and for me on PC, I can't really do it. I had to spend $30 today just to make the villa look okay in one room. And I was like, all right, I can't do this. I can't spend any more money. I can't do this. And then I'm like, all right, well, let me start buying materials and stuff. And I realized I had not enough materials or motifs to learn them, so I have to start collecting those. And it's it's a very end game thing. It's not really beginner player friendly. So I understand that can be a gripe. And my problem with housing too, and I've had housing people on, why can't 2 people get a house together and both combine their items and make one cool house together?
I thought you could. I thought you could add other editors to your house.
They can only move your stuff. They can't add any of their own stuff. So it's always, that's been tough. Now I think you can create things and then give them to someone, but once you place them, I think they're stuck to you. Now I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But I wish there was you could buy a house, but then you could have someone else bring all their stuff over. So then the houses could be more populated. And of course, ZOS wouldn't make as much money because people would just be doubling up in houses. But I mean, ZOS is genius, and I realized this last night. The villa is so big. Do you know how many people are gonna buy more crown packs for things? There's 750 crown pack specials where you get 15 items, 500 crown. I'm like, oh my god, it's genius. They just gave us the biggest house, and now all the players have to fill it.
And they just jacked up the market, because yesterday I was going through and I wanted to create a temple looking, church cathedral kind of thing in that house that we got. And when I went to go buy the motif for the Eleanor hue that they call it, it shows on Tamriel Trade Center website. It's on sale for 5,000 gold. You go to any vendor now, the minimum is 80,000 gold for that one pattern, and that's it.
Yeah, no, it just there's definitely I don't know, housing I feel is either really hit or miss. with some of the people on. Some people just love it, some people just aren't about it. And I'm one of the people who would love to be about it, and I was having fun this morning. But like when I stream, I love doing dungeons, PvE stuff, world bosses with viewers. I love doing trials. But that's a fair thing to change. How would you change it? Would you just make the controls of moving around items in the house more user-friendly if it needed to be?
Well, I think for me, since I'm not that creative, I would love to see like snap points on some of the items, especially like walls, to be able to just hang a painting up centered. You know, if they had a snap point where it would just say like, okay, this is centered. Yes, that's what I want. You know, something like that would be nice. And then if there's also an option to, instead of you having to move your character around, you can just move the object, like a free form camera movement, instead of it being based on your character, just let you be able to go up, down, left, right, you know, circle around, whatever you need to do to be able to get those items in the right position. Because, you know, one of the things you see with a lot of the people that do the housing content, they'll kind of get something lined up just right, they'll set it down, and then they'll do a 360 around the item to go see how it lines up with everything else.
Yep.
And then they're going to be like, oh crap, I gotta pick it up and move it. So yeah, I think it's got to be a little bit more free form and allow us to be able to see how we're placing the item rather than from our character's point of view.
I agree 100%. And I love when you're trying to move an item, but your character gets stuck because he's running into something, but you're still trying to move the item. Why don't you just become a camera that can just move things? Why does your character have to be running around? I was always so baffled by that. I'm like, why don't you just like make me a camera and let me float up and then look at it? But instead I have to look up and then put it there. And especially in the Grand Villa, that thing's freaking huge. That is not a small house. And the ceilings are giant. I'm like looking up and I'm like, oh my God. And I look down, I'm like, all that space, like, this is crazy. So
yeah, no, and I was trying to hang just a tapestry up on the ceiling, and it's like as soon as I start hanging it up, I'm like, it's so far away from my character. I'm like, I can't tell if the chains on the tapestry is actually in the ceiling or not. So I'm like going around running everywhere to try and see if I can see if the angle's right. If at least if I had the ability to just free camera that, go up into the ceiling area and see if it's hanging, you know, that would make it so much easier to do this stuff.
It would be so nice. I agree 100%. That's a really good thing and something that I had never thought about. So, yeah, that's good. I was doing it today and I didn't even realize that there could be a change there. Oh, we still got 10 minutes. Okay. I honestly, I hadn't looked at the time and I was like, wow, we're probably over. What was I gonna say? Uh-oh.
Say hi real quick. Hi.
So just so everyone knows, I have two cameras. So this one's for the stream, and this one I'm actually Orkide's looking at me through. So if I've been looking over here, then that's why.
Yeah.
So give like the creepy face. But what else is there? So will you ever like maybe play like a kids game with the kids? Would you ever have like get a game?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be fun. And it's kind of tough because you like, do I want to put my kids on stream? Like, is that like a weird thing to do? Or do I like want to play a game with them? And I've seen like Ninja614 play with his son before. I've seen other streamers do it, so.
Yeah, and the way I look at that is in this day and age and with social media, you know, we're so much more open with, you know, who we are and our families and stuff like that, that I don't really have a problem putting them on the stream. And we've actually done one day where, what was it? On my birthday, I had the whole family around playing games with me and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
And that's one thing I might actually look into doing is once a month, maybe just do a family stream, and
that's
have
a really
us
cool
just play
niche.
games.
Yeah,
so,
that'd be fun to watch. I think a lot of ESO players are younger, and I think it's always cool watching a dad play with their kids, and not even ESO, just play games and stuff. And so that's cool. That's definitely cool. I've been trying to get my dad on the stream for years now, but I can't get him. I only got him one time, and it was because he was trying to help me fix a technical difficulty.
Yeah, I tried to get my son into ESO, and he wouldn't do it. I don't know why, but I got him a free game code, and he still won't play.
That's crazy. See, that's so funny. I've had the like, I'm in like the parallel universe. Me and my brothers love it, but the dad won't play it.
Yeah.
So Ninja614 is with you too. His son doesn't like it, but he loves it. And he has 3 boys who won't play, and my dad has 3 boys who only play. And I was like, we're the Twilight Zone right now. This is the opposite right here.
Son?
Dad?
I'll just adopt you, and then we can play together, father and son.
We ever stream together, I'll rename it Father and Son. It'll be like the parallel universes playing together. Yeah, exactly. I'm probably a bit older than your son, though.
A little bit, probably, yeah.
But yeah.
See, what you told me before, you're what, 22 or 23?
23, yeah. I'll be 24 in May.
Okay. So, yep, I would have had you at 14. No, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like you were not close to my dad's age. Yeah, no, so with content creators, who I always kind of want to ask this, but it's like a tough question to ask. Like, who got you into like, who was someone who inspired you to start streaming? Was there a content creator you were watching and you're like, oh man, like this looks really fun, something maybe I'd like to try to start doing?
Not really. So when I started playing the game, I was playing with a guild or a gaming community called Mog Nation, and we started out playing together because one of my buddies that I've known through gaming for like 6 or 7 years now, he was like, dude, you got to come check out this game. You know, you're looking for something to play, just try it out. So I'm like, all right. So I tried it out. I started gaming with them, and then him and another guy started up the Lore Seekers Guild. Mm-hmm. And when they started that up, I was like, you know, are you guys going to do streaming? Are you going to do more with the podcast live, or, you know, stream any of the events or anything like that? And they're like, no, we just, you know, we kind of want to just stick with the Audible podcast stuff for right now because it's really picking up and it's going and everything. I'm like, well, I'm gonna try streaming then if you guys don't mind. And they're like, yeah, go for it. So that's kind of how I got my start. Was I started out as just the Lore Seeker Guild streamer for like the different events, dungeons, and other stuff that we would do. And then it kind of blew up because I started seeing other streamers come into my channel and they're like, hey, great stream, you know, come check me out sometime. And I'd start hanging out in their streams and stuff like that. I think Chegg was probably one of the biggest ones that influenced me to kind of branch out and do a little bit more than just Lore Seeker streaming. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started getting into like the dual streaming or you know, doing other kind of content and stuff, and it's just kind of blown up. So
that's
I kind
awesome,
I still try to do both, but it kind of stinks because a lot of the Lore Seeker events are in the evenings now.
Yeah,
and that's when I try not to stream too much in the evenings now. So,
all right. So the last thing I want to do is, does chat have any questions? Something I've gotten asked is, can we include chat at the end if they have any questions for the content creator? And I can't believe I really never thought of this before. But chat is really vibrant right now. I don't know if you guys have any questions for Orkide or myself or for both of us. But I'm going to read comments here for a second. Beard Gene skips a generation with me and Orkide. Yeah, it does. If I'm actually his son, my son will have it, but I won't. That's how I know I'm adopted. My dad can grow one and I can't. Lore Seekers stream with Dungeon Crawler Network guys. If you think about it, between Chegg, Orkide, Ninja, and Beer, we may have the highest beard streamer ratio community as the ESO fam. You guys may, and it always makes me feel so, like, not inferior, but, like, self-conscious about, like, growing anything out, because it's not going to be as luscious and vibrant as these beards that I see other streamers have. And I'm starting to think viewers like streamers with beards in the ESO fam. If you have a beard, it might be like a tell.
I'll add a couple more on there. Retired 8404. He's got an epic beard. Spicy McBrady. He gives me beard envy.
It's insane.
Spicy's got the longest beard, I think, out of all of us. I know there's other ones too. Oh, the Forge. I can't remember his name. Forge something.
Forge Breaker or
Yeah, Forge Breaker. Yep.
Yeah, see, it's so funny. A lot of those streamers, they stream in the morning, so I never get to actually see their beards in action because I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people have beautiful beard. I feel you, Snow. I feel you. It's tough. It's tough, but you know, for all the beard enthusiasts out there who are trying to grow, and just don't give up. Work at it every day. It's the same as the stream. You know, connect with bearded people. But
if you want if you want beard tips, the best thing to do is rub bacon grease, motor oil, and dirt on your face for just every day for like at least a month, and it'll just poof right out just like this. So.
Is that true?
I wish it was.
Do you like how I wanted it to be true because I was now excited? I was gonna be like, Mom, get bacon grease.
Save the bacon grease. I need that.
Mom, don't pour it out. Grab me a handful of the dirtiest dirt.
Dad, you got any motor oil in the garage? I need some. Just
lavender it all over myself.
I tell that to people in my stream all the time. They're like, okay.
You look good with the stubble, dude. Thank you so much, Amazing Phoebe. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone tell me I look good clean shaved. They always tell me I look better with stubble, but it's like my job. I need to have it clean shaved sometimes if I'm meeting someone or I have to like look presentable, because just so everyone's aware, like this patch right here, it's patchy, and over here it's patchy too, as you can see, so it doesn't quite come in as luscious as Orkide's here. But
well, that's the thing too, is like I've noticed a lot of people that have the patchy beard is once when you start growing it out, it kind of fills in those patchy spots.
It does.
So
I take marker.
It depends. Yeah, there you go.
We're right about yep, we're right about at our time. Orkide, when's gonna be the next time you're gonna be streaming, my friend? If you don't know, it's okay, but I just want to give you a shout out here.
So today's Thursday, so my next planned one is gonna be Saturday, playing Sea of Thieves.
Yep. So if you guys need that essential and much needed break from ESO, Orkide, guys, please give him a follow for me if you haven't. I want to thank everyone who came out to this podcast, to this stream. We had a ton of people watching, dude. I got to have you on more often. You are a famous dude, but we definitely have to have a part 2 because there's more we can talk about with ESO. There's always more we can discuss about streaming, and I've had people ask me, why do you do the podcast with streamers? Because I love picking streamers' brains. I don't know if you like it, but it's nice talking to another streamer who's also going through a lot of the same stuff, and you're like, all right, how are you dealing with this? Like, what's your approach to this? So,
yeah. No, it helps a lot, especially, like I said, hanging out in other streamers' streams. You kind of pick their brain, you see what they're doing on their stream, and you don't necessarily copy it, but you get inspiration from other streamers. So yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm gonna do this before we call it, guys. There is Orkide's link, guys. Make sure y'all go follow that on Twitch for me. And what I'm going to do, guys, is we are going to go on the We'll Be Right Back scene. I will let Orkide go eat dinner with his family, enjoy the rest of his evening, and then we'll be back in about 2 minutes doing our normal ESO stream. Orkide, thank you again. Guys, give me 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Guys, how are we doing? Thank you guys so much for everyone who's still chilling around. Sorry my mic is spiking there. Sub, thank you so much, guys. That was so fun. Orkide's such a good dude. Let me get some music going on here from Spotify, not from YouTube. If you guys haven't checked out Orkide, oh no.